Hey everyone, we're back here with a new set. Gonna be experimenting with this space a bit, see what configuration I like. But it's Techtober, so that means all the new devices and gadgets are being announced and all the stuff that you're gonna have to buy for Christmas because we all know we're all flush with cash this year. But sarcasm aside, I mean, PS5s and Xboxes and the 30 series GPUs, they did sell out pretty quickly. But if you're looking to get a new electronic for Christmas, maybe something to work from home with, or just a new laptop, and you're thinking about getting into the streaming game, well, this video is for you because we're going to be talking about the cheapest laptops you can buy to start streaming with. So if you're purchasing a laptop and you have to stay under a certain budget, then you need to think about what type of streaming that you want to do, because under certain budgets, you're gonna have to sacrifice certain components in the laptop. So you wanna make sure you get the laptop that has the components that you need to get the job done. So I think there's three main types of streaming. So the first is the just chatting, podcast, maybe console gameplay type of content. And then after that is going to be like event production. Like if you're gonna broadcast, some weddings or sports events or just, small little portable broadcasts, that's gonna need a certain type of laptop. And I think the third type is going to be a gaming laptop. So if you're planning to play PC games and stream it, that's going to need certain configurations. But let's start first with just chatting. So when we're talking about just chatting streams, these can be a lot of different streams, but basically this is kind of like entry level streaming, right? So could be you just, talking, hosting a podcast, or maybe you're playing some music, doing some art. Maybe you're just watching YouTube videos on Twitch and reacting. So these don't have a lot of inputs basically in the laptop. And this can also apply to console game streaming because you just have a capture card for the console. So for all these types of streams, you don't need the full HD 60 FPS unless you're streaming console. You just need 720p 30 FPS. That's the only quality you need. And that way you don't break the bank and you can get a cheap laptop to maybe get some nice webcams or a nice microphone instead. So with that being said, the minimum requirement is at least a quad core processor. Now, the more cores, the higher quality, the better. But at the baseline level, we just need a quad core processor that's halfway decent. Now, for these type of just chatting streams, you really just need an entry level PC. And I think AMD has really blessed us in this price range with the 4000 series processors. So starting with the 4300U, this is a quad core processor. But I would say spend a few extra bucks and get a laptop with a 4500U. This has 6 cores, which means you can pretty safely encode a 1080p 60 FPS stream if that's what you really want. But some good laptops are the Acer Swift 3 and the Lenovo ThinkPad E15 Gen 2. These both clock in at around $600, which is pretty cheap. And if you're going to be doing console gameplay, you'll definitely be able to encode your gameplay in 60 FPS. So that would be my recommendation in that price point for just chatting type streams. So if you are going to make like a mobile live production setup, unfortunately you will need to pay the Intel tax because you do need a laptop with a Thunderbolt 3 port. This is so you can connect an expansion chassis, so you can connect multiple PCIe capture cards into it. And you're also going to need to probably stream and record in 1080p 60 FPS. So you will need a laptop that has the latest version of NVENC, which means you'll probably need a laptop that has at least a 1660 GPU. So you're likely going to have to spend probably at least $1,500 for this type of laptop. And your cheapest option for this is going to be the Gigabyte Aero 15. Now, thankfully, it's a pretty lightweight laptop and you can buy the older models with the older CPU, which is okay because you're not really going to be using the CPU much for the streaming part. It has an HDMI output and a DisplayPort output. So this is pretty useful if you want to send a feed, say, to the audience and a feed to your casters and commentators. You can also install an additional M2 drive. So if you're doing a lot of recording, you can have a separate drive instead of just recording only to your system drive or having like a USB drive. And with its specs, it's actually pretty decent as a gaming laptop. So when we're talking about gaming laptops for streaming, we don't need the Thunderbolt 3 port anymore. So we don't need to stick just to Intel-based laptops. And let's try and upgrade the GPU a bit. So let's look at laptops with at least a 2060 GPU and see what's available. So once again, you see Asus coming to try and save your bank account around the $1,000 range. So a good option is the Asus TUF A15, which comes with a 4800 Ryzen processor. This actually has 8 cores, and it also has a 144 Hz screen. Now, if you're really dead set on Intel, there's also the Acer Nitro 5, which has similar specs, but it's using a bit of an older Intel chip. Now, if you had a few extra dollars, I'd highly recommend going with the Asus Zephyrus G14. This pretty much has the same specs as the TUF model, except it comes in a much smaller, sleeker design, and it's been getting rave reviews all year. So one last tip I want to give people, and this might not sound too appealing if you want something bright and shiny and new, is that most laptop manufacturers actually have a refurbished section where you can buy their refurbished laptops. These usually have pretty good discounts, and the laptops have been inspected and they have a really good warranty on them, so definitely take a look at that. I hope this video has been helpful in helping you find maybe your first streaming PC, because you don't want to buy some monster expensive PC that isn't going to take care of what you needed to get done and really bust up your bank account. So now I want to ask you, what's your budget for streaming or streaming equipment? Is there a new piece of streaming tech or gear that's gotten you really excited this year that's been announced? And what's the most that you've ever spent on a piece of tech? Let me know in the comments, give a like if this was helpful, and subscribe if you think that streaming tech is getting too expensive and we need to find ways to do things cheaper. Thanks again for watching. Catch you on the next one.